Hey everybody, happy Sunday out there. Looking at the weekly candle close coming up very soon. Doesn't look like we're going to get any major change in behavior. So we'll look at the daily chart here, just matching patterns. Like I was discussing in my previous video, contemplating that potentially this leg was matching this leg on the closing candle chart. It kind of mimics it fairly well. So if that is to be the case, what comes out of there could be this leg. And I look at the behavior of that leg, how it went with candle closes that far, and then it's all wick, and then rejection. So if we are to mimic that, we go up here to candle closures, and maybe after the daily or weekly candle close, you might have a short squeeze that goes up there and takes this upper liquidity. That would look really good for that, mimicking that, if it does indeed come. But we don't have any major closures that are changing behavior yet. The daily barely is closing a break of structure there. Very locally, you have these highs that are closed here. Now we have a higher high close than that one. So that gives you a potential for a change in behavior. Maybe it's going to be down here where you have to buy the higher low before resuming up. So that's what I call a possible change in behavior. Now if you get up here and you close a daily up there, that's an obvious change in behavior. Then you have a higher high, then you would look for a higher low. But also keeping in mind liquidity on these highs, we are likely to see sharp rejections coming off of those. Even if price wants to continue higher, you have to think there's a lot of stop losses that the market maker or the liquidity provider would have to absorb if price gets up there, takes those stops, rejects down, slowly climbs back up again, takes those stops, might reject again, and move up. So if it does want to mimic this leg going up here, that would probably be grabbing this and rejecting for that leg down to mimic over here. Then you may have a break up and chop there, just like this chop before breaking out. We do have news catalysts coming up this week. FOMC, I think, is Wednesday. I think Friday has a triple witching or maybe quadruple witching options expiry, which should be pretty large, being in the month of September before Q4 starts. Alternatively, from this posture, if this price action decides to come down and close a lower low, that means this leg may be repeating something like that, down to 44. It's always a possibility. I was bringing on the volume profile on this just to point out the level of volume on Coinbase, how it came up here. This being a stopping volume to stop the uptrend, to provide the consolidation. This mimics that spike quite well. So this could be stopping volume to the downside, getting ready for a reversal. Certainly doesn't have to. Looking at the charts, we just kind of look for some evidence to kind of give us an idea of what's going on. So the evidence there says this volume is equal to that volume. So whoever sold there, maybe they bought back here to start marking up again. But we do have to start making higher highs and higher lows coming out of here to give us an indication of an uptrend and markup phase coming out of this consolidation. This certainly can be a distribution, and all you get is a up thrust after distribution, rejection, and then down. Let's bring it into the lower time frames to see if we find any opportunities in our current range. Since we've last spoke, we did take out some liquidities. That one is taken out. That one is taken out. One more liquidity left before breaking the upper liquidity. So this locally, I see a pattern emerging there that could be tradable. I did post last Friday on Twitter that this pattern was matching for that to come there And all that's left is that to mimic over here. So this little ABC here, we're repeating that there for one more push up into that trend line of resistance from higher up maybe. Maybe we get that tonight, and that would complete this pattern. That can certainly be seen as a sell setup if price action was to come up here, reject there. There's your stop loss. Or if you want to try to catch a falling knife in reverse, there's your stop loss up there. If you want to try to short the up thrust there to previous resistances here, top of the box, to come back down and grab these liquidities at least, maybe lower. If you do decide to take a sell on this to push down, I'd take partial profits somewhere down here at the bottom of the box where previous support was, and any break above this liquidity grab, since this will be taken, there would be no more liquidity until this high. So if you break above that liquidity grab, you're going to grab this liquidity, and that would actually look really good for a rejection down to there to mimic that daily pattern that I spoke about earlier. And that would potentially give you a higher high close on not only a daily but potentially a 5-day, which closes Monday night at 8 o'clock. If you do get that Monday push, which would be pretty funny if this just goes like this and then closes up there. An interesting thing that happened this week, zooming into this move up on the 4-hour chart, is this 4-hour candle right there. So it was pushing down, I think it was a news event, and then reversed. It reversed, I think, an hour before the 4-hour candle close, and it ended up closing a higher low. And that is often an indication that it's going to break the highs. So that was an entry for me there. Took the highs and then consolidated. Had another entry there. Stop loss was very tight and moved up. So close that out on Friday and see what the weekend brings. Seems to be mimicking this pattern, so I may take a buy setup off of that. Stop loss is going to be probably the 1618 of whatever that measurement moves, whatever that move measures. Without even measuring it, I would say the entry is coming soon, and your stop loss should be probably in this vicinity. Because if you get that low on this structure, you're probably going after this liquidity. And just looking for one more push up into that resistance where supply should be coming in. The algorithm should be selling that because it is a trend line. So just kind of an obvious area of supply to come in at previous resistance areas. And then target these lower liquidities. And if price keeps running, breaks below that, it may start cascading to tackle these 49,000 lows, getting you down to like 45, 46, maybe 44. So those are my areas of interest. Pop up there to previous resistance to that trend line, sell it, breakout and back test. That could mean something different. Yeah, if it gets up and touches these highs, that's likely building extra liquidity there. And then you would want to try to buy a pullback into liquidity to try to push up into that liquidity. Still in a bearish structure on the weekly, so the trend is technically still down, looking for a potential change in behavior coming within the next few days. If we can get a Monday night close up here, that would be a higher high. Then you look to buy the higher low. That would be great. Until then, the algorithms may just keep pushing this thing down. A different pattern that I'm kind of seeing here as I'm doing this is maybe this ABC and then this. Those two legs match locally here. Then you may see this pattern kind of repeat somehow in this range before completing something like this to grab that 72,000 liquidity. And then you have some kind of A. Now this would be B here, and then that would be C. And inside of that you have the A, B, C. For this to be the A, B, and then C. something like that. So a lot of ABCs, just a bunch of three-wave structure moves to grab liquidity. You'd be grabbing liquidity from the lower range, so it would look like a larger liquidity grab before ultimately breaking down sometime next month into October or something like that. Moving into the presidential election, something, I don't know, it'll always have a narrative. Just an idea that I'm just seeing right now. But I'd like to see the change in behavior start happening if it's going to want to move up. Get a close higher, buy the higher low, higher high. Then you can have trend progression. So I guess that's it for today. I guess we'll track it as we get the weekly candle close and tomorrow with the 5-day close. So maybe I'll make another video tomorrow. Until then, see you later.